These stories are so interesting. Oh, we're back in 2024, baby. Let's fucking go. Okay.
The year was 2024. Marvel finally decided to stop making garbage. DC decided to continue making garbage.
No.
Australia somehow managed to, break dancing. And YGO is about to host its American World Championship qualifiers. Now, unlike the other stories I've told in this series so far, you might actually recognize our hero today, as he's actually a popular content creator and competitor at this year's World Championship.
Who is it?
Mike Thomas.
No, it's our bestie! Our actual bestie! Ain't no fucking way. It's Trish. It's fucking Trish. Okay, no explanations. Can someone just shout him out? Who? This is Trishula TTV, our bestie, who actually taught us what is it? Dragon Link. He's going to jail? Oh, he's going to fucking jail. Let's go.
Okay, Trishula TTV. And I thought, since Worlds is happening in less than a week, that it would be pretty cool to showcase a crazy tale from one of its competitors on his road to the World Championship, to build up some hype for him and the event before it begins.
Bro is the villain of the story, trust. It has to be him. He has to be the one committing war crimes. Trust. He is going to jail. I don't know about Trish's actual name. Yeah, so it turns out his real name isn't Trish. It's actually Mike Thomas, and that's crazy to me.
Also, a quick shout out to the Hardercast podcast, where I heard Mike himself originally tell this tale.
Oh.
It's a great podcast, and I highly recommend checking it out. I'll leave a link to both that and Mike's Twitch channel in the description down below, so please go check them out. So this event was coming right off the back of Master Duel's WCQ, which is Yu-Gi-Oh's virtual version of the IRL game. And tragically, Mike placed third in this event, missing out on qualifying by just one singular position, and less than 200 points the difference.
This is so sad.
It was safe to say, he was feeling a little bit down.
Can we get it 07 in the chat? That was a huge rip, guys. 07s.
But there was still hope, as although Master Duel was no longer an option, there was still one final opportunity to qualify to Worlds, through the TCG itself, at the American WCQ.
America.
For this event, Mike was not messing around, and decided to bring the best deck of the format, Snake Eye. Now, this is normally the point in the video where I give people who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit of a rundown on what the deck does and what its gimmicks are, but in the case of Snake Eye, it's best described as a load of complete bullshit that does just about everything. So we're just gonna skip that part.
MD can get you Worlds. MD has its own separate category at Worlds. So there's like the TCG, OCG, and then there's Master Duel. I don't remember if Duel Links has its own category also, but it's like a completely separate category. So don't know what Snake Eyes does, just press shiny button, hope to God I don't lose. You know, I still don't know what Snake Eyes does. I played against Snake Eyes like so much, it was insane. But I don't remember what it does.
Now, after having an incredibly successful tournament run, Mike managed to find himself in the top 8 of the event. So just as long as things continued to go smoothly, he was now only 2 series away from qualifying for Worlds.
Let's go!
Well, let's just say, his top 8 match didn't exactly go according to plan. Both Mike and his opponent sat down at the table and prepared to begin their duel. There was just one small problem. You see, Konami had told them before the match, this duel was going to be a written feature match.
Hold up. Guys, we're never going to Worlds, okay? I am a bum on Yu-Gi-Oh! I am just silly 1 IQ. We could never go to Worlds, guys. Have you seen do you know how serious the people who play like TCG are? I was like scared for my fucking life. I saw people like take out like fucking notebooks with like pens and like scientific calculators, and I'm just sat there asking if anyone can help me shuffle my deck, because I can't even shuffle it, right? Mia hates us. I do not hate you guys. Thank you for appreciating me. I don't hate you guys. We cannot lock in. My hands are not big enough to lock in. If someone bites my card, I might punch them, and you know, we'll get DQ'd. What if they invite you as a content creator? No one better eat my fucking cards. Also, it turns out you cannot, just because you Nibiru someone, you cannot actually throw a rock at them IRL. Therefore, there's like multiple ways for me to get DQ'd. We're not winning this fight, gents.
Which basically means a guy would come over with a laptop and write down everything that happened during this duel to be posted in an online article.
Ooh.
Now these features are normally a little annoying for players as it often causes pauses during the match whilst the writer catches up, but typically it was only a mild inconvenience. But this time was a little different. Mike looked around the table and noticed the writer hadn't actually arrived yet. 5 minutes pass. 10 minutes pass. 15 minutes pass. 20 minutes pass, and eventually the writer finally rocks up so they can begin the duel. And keep in mind, this meant that because the duel was now so late, they were going to hold up the entire rest of the tournament. Because I'm sure players playing the top 8 of a WCQ really need to have the added pressure of holding up the entire event.
That's insane.
And the funniest part about this delay was the written feature match ended up getting completely scrapped anyway, because this duel turned out to be a bit of a disaster.
What?
So the match began, and both players drew their opening hand. Mike had won the coin toss and elected to go first. He looked down at his hand, and he was completely stoked. It was a nutty hand, with plenty of starters and ways to play through potential disruption. He began his turn by normal summoning Snake Eye Ash, which is the deck's main starter monster, but was immediately met with an effect Veiler from his opponent, which just negates its effect. No biggie, Mike's hand was completely cracked, so he knew he could easily play through this. So he went to cards in hand. Mike stopped and looked up to see his opponent was now staring directly at him. Did he just say cards in hand?
What does that mean?
I've only played one card. Why on earth do we need to know how many? Ah, shit. Now, for you guys that don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Starting hand size is 5. So you can imagine the surprise on Mike's face when he looked down at his hand and noticed 5 cards. Which would be great and all, only he just played a card. Yeah. Instant game loss. Now Mike, even to this day, still has no real idea what happened. Maybe 2 cards got stuck together, maybe a miscount. Whatever it was an accident, but it still resulted in an immediate game loss.
No, he fucking cheated? That's crazy. Oh man. I mean, he didn't cheat intentionally, but...
Hi besties, it's me, Miwa, and if you're enjoying today's video, please consider subscribing, okay? Like, please, 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 times a billion. I'm like, really asking this of you, ne?
Oh man, that's insane.
Game 2. Now Game 2 was actually pretty boring, as Mike just sort of snake-eyed all over his opponent, tying up the score. So we're actually just going to skip this game and go straight to Game 3. The game begins, and this time his opponent went first. His opponent was playing Miwabelle, which is considered by most to be the second best deck in the format, and unfortunately for Mike, his opening hand wasn't exactly the greatest for going second. He did manage to draw an effect Veiler, which prevented some of his opponent's plays, but still let his opponent build up a very significant end field of multiple disruptions, to which he then passed the turn. Mike drew for turn and hit Dark Ruler No More, which is a card that negates all of his opponent's monsters, but at the cost of not being able to damage them for the turn. He immediately activates the ruler and begins trying to set up a field. He special summons a Diabelle, but is immediately hit with a Morna, which for those of you that don't know, is basically just another negate from hand, only this time if the negated monster leaves the field, the controller would also take a bunch of burn damage. Unfortunately, Mike's options were very limited, so without being given much of a choice, he had to just take the burn damage by activating Original Sinful Spoils, which removes his monster from the field, instantly taking 2500 damage, in order to summon out Snake Eye Ash from the deck. Ash allows him to search his deck for a card, but upon looking through his deck, he realized something. During siding between games, he'd actually taken out Temple, which is something he would normally never do, and that card was one of the vital pieces needed for the line of play he was about to try to go down. So he had to come up with some sort of backup plan. He grabbed an Oak from his deck and then used his Snake Eye Ash on the field to link summon out a Relinquished Anima, pointing directly at his opponent's rage. Anima is a card that can suck up anything it's pointing to, so this immediately forced out a response from his opponent, who upon the activation of Anima, chained a Shavara in hand to destroy his own rage and summon itself to the field.
Okay.
This also triggers the effect of Yama in his graveyard, which revived the doggo back to the field. Crucially, his opponent made a massive misplay, as Yama also has a bonus effect where upon its revive, it could also destroy a card on your own field, which he'd forgotten to do, leaving the Shavara on the field. This was a bit of an oopsie, considering Shavara locks the player into only summoning fiends whilst it is face up on the field. Keep that in mind. From here, there really wasn't a whole lot Mike thought he could do, so he just normal summoned Oak, which could revive the Ash from the graveyard. But this was immediately met by his opponent's Rage's effect, which can use one of Mike's monsters for a link summon, to which he used the freshly revived Ash. Both cards went straight to the graveyard, and his opponent picked up his extra deck and began sifting through it to grab a monster to summon. But at this moment, the sifting began slowly coming to a halt, as his opponent's head turned towards his own field. With a completely dead expression, his opponent was now staring directly at his own fiend-locking Shavara that he'd forgotten to remove. He was forced to summon a fiend here, rather than what would have been a game-winning SP Little Knight. He reluctantly places a fiend monster on the field that does quite literally a whole lot of nothing. This meant Mike had a small glimmer of hope, as he was able to make a small resemblance of an Enfield before passing the turn. At this point, Mike was still pretty sure he was screwed, as he didn't really manage to set up that big of an Enfield.
Damn, that's crazy.
But something strange was happening. His opponent normal summoned a monster, and then just stopped for a while. Okay, bit weird, but Mike thought, it's top 8, maybe this guy just doesn't want to misplay or make a mistake, maybe he's just taking a while to plan out his turn.
I guess that's
A
true.
few more moments go by and he's still just sitting there. At this point, people around the room were all just glaring at him confused. He finally picks up his extra deck and began sifting through it. Sort of. Mike looked over and noticed something. Cards in extra? To which his opponent responded, 3. Yeah, I think we've spotted the problem. As soon as his opponent said that, the judge of the match immediately started death glaring him. It was clear this man wasn't just thinking of a play, he basically had no play, as he was almost out of cards to summon. The death glare triggered his opponent to finally start playing the game, to which he summoned out an SP, banished a card, and that was about it. A single SP and a bunch of 0/0 monsters that don't do anything. He then ends his turn, and keep in mind, in Yu-Gi-Oh, all duels are on a time limit, and once the clock reaches 0, the player with the highest life points wins the duel. And due to his opponent's incredibly slow turn, there was only 7 minutes left on the clock.
That is fucked up. That is actually fucked up. What? No, really? Fuck. Holy shit.
And Mike was down 2,500 life points.
Uh-huh.
Mike had to play fast, and immediately started comboing off. He had enough cards remaining in hand to easily play through the 1 bit of disruption that SP offered, and decimate his opponent's life points. So he begins comboing off. Can I see Graveyard? His opponent, now looking a little distraught, now began asking some interesting questions. Not sure why he'd need to see the graveyard at this moment, but sure, go ahead. Can I get a translation of original Sinful Spoils?
What?
Mike slowly looked up from his comboing. Did this dude just seriously ask for a translation? At this point, the judge was giving him a mega death glare and responded, no. Trish then continued playing, but after every single card he played, his opponent would stop him to declare that he was thinking. Keep in mind, the only interaction he had was a single SP on the field and no cards in hand. It got to a point where Mike said, dude, just tell me when you're going to use it, I'm going to keep playing. And at that moment, the death-glaring judge had clearly had enough and issued a slow play warning.
Ooh.
Turns out this wasn't even his first slow play warning at the event, meaning it resulted in an instant game loss. Mike had won the match.
Holy shit.
That sounds like the most
it was
disastrous Worlds qualifier game in history.
Oh my god, it was so stressful, it was so insane. And then I look up from like this game, and you know, like the production lights are all on us because they've like started streaming our game because it's taking forever.
They did. Yeah.
And I look up, and like just Billy is standing there, and there's like the production lights behind him. He's like reaching out to shake my hand. It looked like the Mercy meme from Overwatch. Like when Billy breaks, it's like congratulations. I'm like, oh my god, I finally got through this game.
This is what.
And that's going to mark the end of today's tale. From here, Mike went on to win a pretty looking trophy, as well as being granted a world spot for finishing runner-up at the qualifier. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your story online, and please remember to support him in the upcoming World Championship this weekend, as well as go check out his content. Now, as per usual, if you too have a story or tale from your time playing
That was so dumb.